the marquee fight and probably the biggest fight of the year, Anthony Joshua rematching and trying to avenge his lone professional career loss against Andy Ruiz. And I think, to be honest, this fight is really hard to pick and to predict and to break down. It's one of those where there's a lot of different angles we can look at it, a lot of different ways we can see a fight sort of transpire, different outcomes we could see. This is one of the hardest fights to pick of the year, in my opinion. Like, I've gone back and watched it ad nauseum. I've broken it down ad nauseum, and I still am perplexed as to who I'm going to pick, to be honest. Like, I'm still conflicted as who I'm picking in this fight. Gary, thoughts on overall just the fight itself, how big it is? Are you excited for it? And thoughts on how difficult it is to predict? I know who you're picking, but I just thoughts. Was that an easy conclusion to get to?
For me, I feel like it was too easy. Although I know I'm obviously going to be in the minority. I think it's a big fight. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it. I think it's really big for DAZN specifically to keep as many U.S. subscribers, because it's going to have within a month. It's going to have the YouTube fight and this. And when we look at their numbers
and Canelo, that happened too within a month.
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, so it's going to be big. When they released those numbers that we talked about, that was in the wake of the KSI fight. So it's like, how many of those 800,000 subscribers are they going to also have next month? I think they reported those numbers at an opportune time to make it look like there's more. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To make it look like there's more subscribers than there are.
So you're saying the 8 million subscriber count worldwide, that report we heard from, I forget what outlet, yesterday or the day before, that was in sort of tandem with this fight coming up and sort of a PR, not stunt, but it was.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are real. I'm not saying they're cooking the books, but they're just using it at the best time. It's like saying, a retailer saying, look how much more items we sold right before Christmas than we did in the middle of the summer. Well, yeah, no kidding. They just took that number, that slice of the pie at the most opportune time. I'm not accusing them of cooking the books.
Yeah. No, just good marketing, if you want to say that. Yeah.
So it's big for Showtime. I mean, it's big for Showtime. It's big for. And I think this is big for American boxing, because if Ruiz wins, we are one step away from having an undisputed, unified American heavyweight champion, be it Wilder or Ruiz, right? I mean, that's a very makeable fight, them being both with PBC. So this is good news. Like, I think this is ultimately pretty good. And if not, if AJ wins, it's great, because then maybe we finally get AJ versus Wilder, and that will have huge appeal on both sides. I think Wilder's star continues to get bigger, so maybe it's better that it happens now than 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Even though AJ lost, I don't think that loss will really matter if he beats Ruiz in the rematch. I don't think anyone outside of certain Wilder and PBC fanboys are really going to care that he lost.
Absolutely. The casuals largely don't give a shit about that, to be honest.
It's really only the haters that care, right?
Manny Pacquiao got iced by Juan Manuel Marquez in the fourth fight, and like a year and a half later fought Floyd Mayweather for the biggest fight in boxing history.
The biggest fight in boxing history, yeah.
To this day, still the biggest fight in boxing history. So it's just like losses mean so very little to the paying casual fan base in that way. So I agree with you. If AJ wins this fight, AJ Wilder fight, it's way bigger now than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago in 2017 when the talks really first started and there was that whole saga of negotiations. But digressing more about the X's and O's of the fight, what's your pick here, Gary, and how do you see your pick winning?
I'm going to take Ruiz by 7th round knockout. I think the fight looks, and it's not an obvious pick, right? You ask how I'm picking Ruiz because I think AJ can't handle the speed. He didn't take anything in the interim. He didn't take a tune-up. He didn't take a get right in the interim to try to fix that and try to shore up defensively. I just think he's too mechanical. And he did slim down, which is a good sign. But he didn't have any time to fix what was broken. If I were him, I wouldn't have taken this fight. I think he's just going to get knocked out again. I think he'll have moments. People forget, we all thought in the first fight Ruiz was done in the second round. He was badly hurt.
Third.
It looked like AJ was just going to go in and take care of him, and then AJ got caught. So it's not like AJ got blown out in the first fight. He almost had Ruiz stopped. So he'll have moments. I think he'll, especially early. I think he could win rounds early. I think just from a jab, stand outside and box each other, they're pretty evenly matched. But I think as the fight progresses, Ruiz will start to get on the inside, and then Joshua's going to have no answer for the speed and combinations, and he's going to get caught with something again. And I say that comes in the 7th round.
All right, so I've thought about this fight a lot because this is one of my fight of the years, Gary. I've been talking about this fight a lot more, I think, than others in this space, to be honest, or at least on our show. I've talked about this fight as being the fight I'm most looking forward to, the rematch I'm most looking forward to. The first fight was one of the best fights of the year. This means a lot. Plus, just the matchup we have here is so interesting. I've watched this fight a few times in the last week or so, trying to get ready for the show, and there's several things I want to point out, and some of them are connected, some of them aren't, some of them are just ancillary points, but I feel like are worth mentioning, at least in respect to a rematch. The first fight, the narrative out there right after the fight was that AJ was winning the first 2 rounds. That AJ was winning the first 2 rounds and a half, and obviously knocked down Andy Ruiz in the first minute or so, minute and a half of the 3rd round. I think that is an overblown narrative. I think Andy Ruiz was given AJ issues from the second the fight started, to be honest, guys. I think that's something that needs to be addressed, especially if in regards to rematch, how do you work behind, how do you create a game plan? AJ cannot look at the first 2 rounds and say that's enough. I need to replicate that, because he was having issues within those first 2 rounds. Andy Ruiz was already taking the center of the ring easily and often. He was pushing AJ to the ropes easily and often. And on top of that, he was landing shots as well. People forget, look in the first 10 seconds of the second round, guys. Okay, first 10 seconds. So, if you're watching this right now, pause this show. I'm okay with that, guys. Pause the show. Go back on DAZN right now. Go to the second round. Watch the first 10, 15 seconds. Andy Ruiz catches AJ with a clean shot. I think it's a right hand. Clean. It's a combination, but he catches him mainly with that right hand, and he hurts AJ. AJ gets a little wobbled, ties up, and recovers really quick. And is able to get on the jab and sort of keep that distance, but still largely not get any offense going. Lands occasional right hands up top, and occasional lead hook, the occasional jab, but everything really is inefficient for AJ. And plus, Andy Ruiz is dictating the pace and the range from the get-go. Okay? And on top of that, I think people are forgetting that every time Andy Ruiz was catching AJ, there was an effect. Right? AJ was affected by the shots of Andy Ruiz. And the same was not for the opposite. All of AJ's shots, when they were landing efficiently, were not having the desired effect on Andy Ruiz. And that is a significant issue to look forward in the rematch. Does Andy Ruiz just have the power to take out AJ at will? Does he just have that shot, that placement, that type of power? Does AJ not have the durability enough to sustain Andy Ruiz's shots? There is something there, and AJ has to adjust accordingly to that. AJ also, I think he doesn't, in a similar way to like Sergey Kovalev in the Canelo fight, Gary, right? The taller guy, the bigger guy, playing the counter boxer, playing the guy on the outside, working behind the jab, but not really committing on shots. AJ did that in the first fight, and that was an issue. I think he needs to commit to shots in the second fight, commit to combinations. And at times when he does have that lateral movement and get that side step, even for a partial second to Andy Ruiz, fire off a combination. Fire off a 3-piece, a 2-piece. Something to get Andy Ruiz going backwards and off of his game. Because to allow Andy Ruiz to come forward and try to just play the jab and counterbox game at the pace that he was going in the first 2 rounds in the first fight, I think is impossible. Andy will always catch him. He needs to throw the right hand more willingly. He needs to go to the body more, especially. I know that's hard for the tall guy to go to the small guy and go to the body, but he needs to, absolutely. He needs to stop the pressure of Andy Ruiz. I think the best way to do that is with body shots because, look, let's just be honest here. AJ is not a cardio freak. And no matter what, he is going to be the one moving more, doing more stuff, and therefore he's going to tire out faster. How do you adjust to that? How do you bring the balance back to your side when you're moving and you're laterally circling around the entire round, the entire fight, while Andy is just doing minimal effort to hunt you down and not really exhausting himself? Go to his body. You have to. And then on top of it, if you go to the body first, the right hand or right straight to the body routinely, that will set up the right hand up top. AJ needs to fight a near perfect fight in this fight, in my opinion, to win. His paths to victory are a late fight TKO or a decision, to be honest. I don't think he can really hurt Andy Ruiz the way he wants to. If he can, he would have to commit to short, compact combinations with an in-and-out game plan. And I don't know if he has the quickness to do that, so to speak. This is a tough fight for AJ. And my gut feeling is leaning towards Andy Ruiz. But I'll be honest, AJ does have the right tools to figure out a game plan. And if he does, if he comes in here with the game plan on Saturday, guys, and really sticks to, again, look at the knockdown. That's the only knockdown he had against Andy Ruiz. How did he set that up? He set up as a quick right hand off of no jab, no setup. Quick right hand to get on the inside, dart in there, tie him up, smother Andy Ruiz instantly, and then work 2 short shots on the inside, which was obviously one of them being the uppercut, and then the left hook to finish it. Okay? It was a inside and out, quick darting combination, similar to what Pacquiao does, or other guys that have that darting in and out movement that is more style of their game. AJ needs to implement some of that in this fight, but he needs to do so in a methodical way, but also be willing to exchange. It's a weird dynamic and paradigm he needs to live in this fight because he needs to be smart here, but he needs to throw more than in those first 2 rounds because his inactivity allowed Andy Ruiz to really get on the inside and work the pace more than I think AJ was expecting. I know I've been ranting for a bit. Gary, any thoughts on what I've said? Any sort of debate you have? Discussion?
The story is going to be the straight right hand, right, from AJ. If he can land it and deliver it and then follow up on it, he can win, right? But that's big for him. But this idea that if it's fought at range, that AJ is going to get the better of it, I think it's kind of even. Maybe, but like it's going to be kind of a lot of evenish rounds, and it's just going to be depends what the judge, like it's going to be like splitting hairs.
AJ's best work does not come from the long range. However, the long range, that distance they needs to be in to get that long jab going, is not where he needs to be to get his combinations going. And he needs to figure out how to get from point A to point B without getting hit with counters, and then getting from point B back to point A without getting hit with counters. If he can figure that out and just rinse and repeat, he could win. He could absolutely win.
I think what he needs to do is go watch Bo Holyfield 2, Ruiz I'm talking about, and just do what Holyfield did in that second fight. Time the jab, double up the jab, throw a right hand, get out of dodge. Right? It was interesting because Emmanuel Stewart trained Holyfield for that fight, and Stewart usually trains the big heavyweight. And this time he went like reverse course and trained the small heavyweight and and game planned it perfectly. I think like that's what I would advise Ruiz to do. It's just I don't think he needs to change much. I think
no, Andy Ruiz doesn't need to change much. AJ needs to change a lot.
He does, why I don't think taking nothing in between and going straight into this was not the best idea. I know his ego and his pride is going to make him do it. He thinks he can win. He almost knocked him out in the first fight, so why can't he knock him out again? I don't think he's had enough time to fix everything that he needs to fix in order to win this fight.
Yeah, and plus now that Andy Ruiz has the confidence, like there's a lot of things on Andy's side here that makes my gut feeling go, Andy's gonna get it again. Like the deck is stacked against AJ here in a lot of ways because it, like you said, it's an immediate rematch. I think he's the one that has to adapt, not Andy, and that's a huge factor. Can he adapt? Can he make those adjustments? Of course. I just don't know if Rob McCracken's the one to do it. Not saying that he's not a good trainer. I think he is a good trainer, but when you need to make massive adjustments and you need to often have better game plans, if you didn't really have that to begin with, to create that all of a sudden, it's hard with the same trainers and camp around you, to be honest. But to AJ's credit, he did speak a lot about having to change things up. So, hey, if he comes out here and he has a game plan and he is putting twos and threes together a little more effortlessly, darting in and out of that range and confusing Andy Ruiz, and he's doing that for 6, 7, 8 rounds, and all of a sudden gets a TKO, don't be surprised either. Like, this is one of those fights where, like, now that we know the possibilities here, anything's possible. Everything should not be surprising, even though it might be shocking, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, knockouts are shocking, and it's the visceral reaction, but none of it's going to be shocking, no matter what happens here. If it's a 12-round war, that's not really surprising. If Andy gets the TKO KO win, it's not surprising. If AJ gets the KO TKO win, it's not surprising. A lot could happen here, and a lot of different avenues of victory for either guys here, to be honest. It's a fantastic fight.
I wanted to raise this because this is going to be a topic in the boxing community. AJ's chin. Now, he didn't get knocked out by Klitschko, but he almost did. And then he gets knocked out by Ruiz. Do you think he just eats too many shots that are way too big and eats, or do you think there's a chin issue?
I think there's a defensive issue overall. I do think there's a lack of head movement overall. Like, he does stick on the center line a little bit too much. But I do think, repeating back to like my very first point I said about this fight and going back into the first fight, Andy was able to land shots quickly and often, and every shot had an effect on AJ. Whether that's because Andy just has that special power to beat AJ, because that does happen, right? Some guys just have that, for some reason, that pop, that special connection to just hurt that guy routinely. Or it's a larger systemic issue of AJ's durability. I don't know. Because the heaviest hitters he's fought, he has been hurt. One of them he's recovered. One of them he's got a victory in. One of them he really didn't, to be honest. And maybe that you could mention the Dylan White fight, but that was, again, I think really far back in their games and their styles. I think both guys have improved drastically since then, so it's hard to really go back to that one.
Guys like Klitschko or Dillian White hit you clean. That's not necessarily a chin issue. It's like those guys, like those guys hit you, they're going to break you. Mm. The question is, like, why are you getting hit with big shots like this consistently? Mm. So I would say it's not a chin issue. If Klitschko or Dillian White cracks anyone, they're going to break you. Like, they're going to dent you. Those guys are big hitters. Mm-hmm. You have to not get hit. And that's what scares me about Fury, right? For as good as Fury is, as defensively sound and excellent as he is, why does he get hit with so many big shots? Like, I go back to the Cunningham shot.
Because he's overrated.
You can't outbox. I mean, maybe. I mean, it depends on how you rate him, right? Like, but no one can outbox him. He'll go as far as his boxing skills takes him. If he gets clipped, he gets clipped. But he'll outbox anyone except for Usyk now. He'll outbox anyone in the division.
Tyson Fury is one of the most overrated boxers I've ever seen in my lifetime. But digressing from that point.
Also, keep in mind he's 6'9", right? Like, that matters. Like, would Shaq be that good if he wasn't 7'1" and 350 pounds? Probably not, but he was, so that matters. Like, don't forget he's 6'9". Like that.
Yeah, the physicality of a fighter absolutely does matter. Let's be honest. Any other thoughts though about Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, the rematch? We have obviously the undercard we're gonna get to, but just the main event.
No, I think we covered it. I mean, I think We know where we stand, and I don't think we're much different on the fight. Except I'm more confident than you are.
Yeah, you're far more confident than I am, and I'm definitely worried about all the hate comments we're gonna get from the UK fans and listeners about both of us picking Andy Ruiz.
Maybe we'll just grow that much in Mexico. Maybe the Mexican fans will jump on and will be huge in Mexico.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. But who knows? You
I
know.
doubt it too. Co-main event: Alexander Povetkin versus Michael Hunter. Thoughts on this fight, Gary? I mean, this is one of those fights where like it's heavyweight boxing, so like I have to like try to care about it at times because I don't like heavyweight boxing in a general perspective. And this is one of those fights I can feel like being a really ugly, boring heavyweight fight. To be honest, Povetkin's not a guy that is really the most exciting fighter on his own. Like, he kind of needs a dance partner, and Michael Hunter is not the dance partner to lead you to an exciting fight. So I can see Hunter winning like a 12-round decision. I can see Povetkin maybe hurting Hunter in a couple key rounds and winning a decision. But it largely be a ho-hum, tit for tat affair where both guys aren't really exchanging that much here. I'm going to pick Michael Hunter just from like a momentum standpoint. Like, I think momentum is key in boxing and just combat and just sports period. Like, momentum is massive. And I think Hunter just has way more momentum on his side right now than Alexander Povetkin. And Povetkin, from a wear and tear perspective, he's an older fighter. He's been in some fights. He's been dropped and hurt by guys like David Price, who even though has some good pop, it's David Price. Shout out to Gary's alert on his computer. And I think Michael Hunter should win a pretty mediocre 12-round decision here against Povetkin because mainly that's his style. Michael Hunter's not an exciting fighter. No discredit to him. Some guys are like that. But I just see him being more efficient here in the fight and therefore making it more of an ugly, boring fight. Gary?
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. Like, I was leaning towards Hunter in boring fashion, like unanimous decision, probably wins 9 rounds. You thought he beat Fury, right? You thought Povetkin beat Yuri Fury?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've heard some people say that, including Paulie Malignaggi was pretty vocal about it. Thought Yuri Fury won that fight. I was like, okay, just wanted to make sure you were on board. Like, I thought he beat Povetkin too. Povetkin beat Fury too.
Stay off the weed.
The one Yuri Fury fight I'll like argue about is the Parker fight. I thought Yuri Fury did very well against Parker.
God. There was no controversy in that. That was ridiculous. And I spent $20 or $30 to watch that on YouTube. That was.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was a YouTube pay-per-view. God, we got ripped off. Digressing. Povetkin Hunter. Gary, your thoughts?
I think, Povetkin's not really a big heavyweight, so this is not Hunter, a natural cruiserweight moving up and fighting a big heavyweight. So I don't think you need to worry about that. I think he wins it. And you're saying, look, no discredit to Michael Hunter, because I think he's a pretty good heavyweight. I think he'll be in the top 10 picture for a while in the heavyweight division. He just, he's not an exciting heavyweight. I think he'll win. I think he'll outbox him. I think he'll do enough to win rounds. I mean, maybe he gets caught, but I think he survives it because his skills are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Povetkin's not a huge heavyweight, right? He's not one of these 6'5", 250 guys. So I think Hunter wins it on his jab and his boxing skill. But I want to say, like, Larry Holmes wasn't the most exciting heavyweight, right? He didn't have the style, the old brawling style of Evander Holyfield. He didn't have the sensational power and speed of Tyson. He didn't have the speed and athleticism of Ali. He didn't have the jab, right hand, the pure boxing skill and power of Joe Louis. But he was better than all those guys because you just couldn't beat him. You just couldn't get past the jab. And then he eventually started clobbering you at right hands. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't exciting like those other guys were. But he's the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. And so it is what it is.
Well, of course. I mean, skills pay the bills, of course, right? But I will say this. I don't think Michael Hunter has enough skills to ever win a legit championship.
No. But he has enough to beat an aging Povetkin, is what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely. I think
maybe Pulev he can beat. Like, it's close.
That would be such a bad fight, though. God. You guys would have to pay me to, like, specifically watch that, guys listening in the chat. Like, if you wanted us to cover that fight, you have to, like, go in the super chat and donate your entire life savings, because no, I have more self-respect than to watch that bullshit. But I'm really curious to see, like, Hunter fight, like, the Dylan Whites of the world, the Jared Millers of the world. It was really big heavyweights that have pop, that have that more of a heavyweight demeanor, so to speak, than a Povetkin. Then he fought Usanov. I think that was his other like big heavyweight fight, right?
Chisora, like just see. I guess Usyk's probably going to fight Chisora, but I think like that's a good test.
I mean, God knows what's happening to Carlos Takam with his.
I was just going to say that's who they're going to put him in with. You know that because Takam is a big guy, but he can't punch.
Yes.
Well, look, he stood up and lasted and went the distance with a big heavyweight. Yeah, but that big heavyweight can't punch at all.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Filip Hrgović fighting Eric Molina in a obvious undefeated prospect fighting a faded veteran fight. Hrgović is one of those guys who obviously is a really talented prospect. I think he should beat Eric Molina. Eric Molina is a guy that's never really impressed other than maybe that one round he hurt Deontay Wilder in. And what else? What else has Eric Molina ever done to impress us? Anything?
Not off the top of my head. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of his fights. And no, I was not impressed with it. No, I mean, it's a game challenger, you know.
Yo, he lost to Chris Aola in the first round.
Was it the first round?
Yeah, it was the first round. Yeah, Hrgović should win this one, guys. That wasn't recent, by the way. That was a long time ago. But again, he lost to Chris Aola in the first round in 2012. It's 2020 now.
8 years ago.
Hrgović should win this one rather easily.
You were in high school in 2012, Matt?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was in high school. I was in high school from 2010 to 2014.
Wow. So, whoa. Really?
Yes. I started the decade in the prime of my life, high school. Digressing, though. Dylan White back because UCAD doesn't give out temporary suspensions and then allow fighters to fight while they deliberate their rulings on positive PD tests, a la Tyson Fury fighting Vladimir Klitschko when he popped for Christian Hammer. He's fighting Maurice Walk, so like it's not a no-name opponent, right? Like we know who Maurice Walk is, but
unfortunately,
true. I can largely just give two shits about this fight, to be honest. Like one of those fights again, you have to sort of pay me to watch and care about. Like I don't. This does nothing for me. Like Dylan White does nothing for me until his sort of case is resolved because it's not. Guys, stop listening to Eddie Hearn. Contradict himself within statements saying, "Oh, he's cleared," but yeah, we're still waiting on their deliberation, and the UCAD delaying their ruling. So come on, guys, pick a narrative here. I don't care about Dylan White. I don't care about this matchup. I will wait to see him either fight somebody that really matters to where I have to care, right? Over the whole UCAD situation, or the UCAD situation is taken care of, and neither one's happening here. Gary, thoughts on Dylan White fighting Maurice Walk?
It'll be a brutal knockout whenever it happens. So at least we'll get that. You know, he probably shouldn't be in the ring until this thing is cleared, but he is. So it is what it is. You know, Walk is a guy that's going to be there to be knocked out, and Dylan White has a habit of getting sensational one-punch knockouts. So maybe we'll get a knockout of the year next year. Because I thought both of his knockouts from a year ago, both Chisora and Parker. Not Parker.
Brown?
Lucas Brown.
That was a good knockout.
Were both really good knockouts.
Yeah.
I was like, could you imagine the 30-second commercial for Wilder versus White? Like, those knockouts would just be like that could do 1 million pay-per-view sales just because the casuals like, I want to see that. Like, those knockouts are vicious.
And quickly, Hadag on the chat. No, I don't think Gary was saying that Larry Holmes is the greatest heavyweight champion of all time.
No, I was saying that. I was absolutely saying that.
Wait.
It goes Holmes won.
That's not true.
Oh, it absolutely does. You couldn't beat him. That's what we're talking about, Michael Hunter.
No,
like none of those guys. You just can't beat him. It's not sensational. He's not going to be wow. You're not going to be mesmerized by it, but no one can beat him.
Yeah, Larry Holmes is going to lose to a lot of heavyweights all time.
Not a single heavyweight.
Yeah, he loses. He loses to Joe Frazier beats him.
Oh, there's no way Frazier beats him.
Yeah, Joe Frazier beats him. If you don't beat Joe Frazier in my mind, like, I'm sorry. Like, same with Mike Tyson. Like, Mike Tyson never beats Joe Frazier. Sorry.
But I'm not the biggest Tyson fan,
Mhm.
but I think you really overlook Tyson. Like
Tyson's a top 20 heavyweight of all time, but
for sure, 20. Is he
yeah,
higher than 20? Is he 15?
no.
Okay, then you're not as okay.
I got to think about it, but like if I can easily make a list of top 20 heavyweights where like Tyson's in like 17, 16, easily. Because like there are certain generations where like certain guys are just like there's multiple guys in a generation that get in that top 10, top 15.
Sure.
You know, like Ali, Frazier, Foreman, they're all in the top 15, I would say. And we're in the same generation. Lennox is better than Tyson all time, I would say.
Lennox is top 5.
I don't know about that. I gotta think about it. But yeah, I maybe one of these maybe this week we'll do a show like that because look, there's not gonna be a ton of news this week. I think it's just gonna be the black hole of Ruiz AJ fight week. So like a Thursday, we might do a top 20 heavyweight show. That'd be fun, all time. Get Santiago on to school us. He's always saying people in the chat. Michael Spinks, ooh,
As a heavyweight,
yes.
Michael Spinks is the greatest. You could argue the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Okay. As a heavyweight, I mean, he got 2 bogus decisions against Larry Holmes when Holmes was 100 years old.
Joe Louis is better all time.
Those are your top 3: Holmes, Ali,
Jack Johnson.
and Lewis.
Jack
I don't
Johnson.
care what order you put him in. I put Holmes 1, Ali 2, Lewis 3.
Who else?
But I could flip the other 2. Like I could flip Ali and Lewis. Like,
anyways, digressing. Oh, my bad. But that does actually accurately reflect Gary's opinion that Larry Holmes is the best heavyweight of all time.
greatest heavyweight champion ever.
Not true. There's some other fights on the card. Madrasol Madrijov fighting Tom Little. Ivan Price fighting Sweetie Muhammad, and Diego Pacheco fighting Salimi Saidi. Yeah, bad undercard after about Dylan White and Felipe Perkovic, let's be honest. Really just a heavyweight like main card, and everything else is just eh. And even then, some of these heavyweight fights like White Walk are just an easy tune-up fight, let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. This fight week, crazy. Fight week is crazy. I don't know quite.
What's the temperature like over there? More because obviously, even though this fight is featuring Andy Ruiz, who's definitely a surging star in the U.S., this is more of a UK fight now in a way, just because of the time zones now. It's gonna be prime time in the UK. It's AJ. I feel like this fight means more and is the biggest fight of AJ's career. Period. Obviously UK superstar. What is the temperature like over there for this rematch?
Well, since the loss, I've seen a lot of people now have kind of jumped from the Joshua ship, and it's there's people saying, the fat guy's going to do it again and stuff like that, and Joshua's mentally done, and he's finished, and once he's he's going to retire, hang the boots up and the gloves up and everything like that. And I don't know. I think maybe they need to, I don't know, for British boxing, hope that Joshua wins, because like I think the gravy train stops. The whole wave of big events and everything in the UK comes to a halt, if that's the case, and that's what they're hoping for. But for me, I think just as Brits get behind him, and I think even in boxing in general, because I feel he is as a brand and kind of what he's done and made these big events like the Wembleys and stuff like that. I think it's been a knock-on effect for like the division.
Absolutely,
yeah.
The division's hot right now, and
it's
due to several people, and one of them specifically is AJ. Obviously, like the UK market was largely built up in the last 5 years because of AJ and Carl Froch selling 80,000 Wembley. Never forget.
Wait, what? When he beat George Groves in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium, he even brought that up and they absolutely clowned him. Bellew, Polly,
when Harry was, I watched that because first off, I love those round tables where they do the gloves off, right? That Sky Sports does. But when David Hare was like, "Yo, how much did that do?" Carl, like, how much did that do? And everyone started cracking up.
Yeah, and he's still trying to get it out. But
It was so good.
yeah, I think like the Wilders, the Furies, these guys have benefited off of like the success of AJ in a way. You know, the money's rocketed up. This, that, and the other. So, on that standpoint, but if Ruiz is the better man, then he's the guy that's got to win. You know, but as you know, with Joshua being the brand and this sort of the draw that he apparently like maybe was, who knows? You know, but
Is.
yeah. As far as my prediction, I just don't know, man. I'm just because I'm like up and down with it. I'm like, yeah, Joshua.
You listened to the show, I'm assuming, right? With me and Gary breaking it down. Did you not?
Yes. I've heard your predictions.
Okay, you've at least heard our predictions, right?
You're both picking Ruiz, right?
Yes, but I am like you, up and down. Like today, I was driving, like, maybe AJ wins it. Like, I'm sorry, he can do it. Like, he just do X, Y, and Z. He can win it. Every day, I've been like almost switching my pick, to be honest.
Look, I know I'm the Eddie Hearns stan and everything like that.
Yeah.
But every time Eddie Hearn says this is a 50-50, even I don't believe Eddie Hearn when he says every fight is a 50-50. But for me, this is a genuine 50-50. I think either guy can win it at any moment. Joshua's shown. I know there's this whole chinny thing about him. He's chinny. It's not chinny. He's temple-y. It's like his temples, the weak link. You know that.
The Achilles heel.
Yeah, it seems to be like Tyson said it in the one night thing. Like he's like he got hit here. He's fine, but his body's fucked up. You know, it's like that seems to be the spot. You get AJ up around the temple, sort of like above the ear. You know, that was the Klitschko shot. That was the Dillian White shot that wobbled him in the White fight. And obviously we see it in the Andy Ruiz in the first fight. So, yeah, I mean, he keeps picking himself up off the canvas. But for me, those fast hands of Ruiz, they're a concern. And I know Eddie Hearn was ringside watching the workouts. He was on the Sky Sports stream for the public workouts. Which again, speaking of the popularity, I think it had at one point like 23,000 watching a public, on live stream on the Sky Sports one. But you're sort of picking up on what you said. What's the buzz for it like? Seems to be a lot of people keen on.
Like if you're walking around, plus like people in the chat, I know we have a huge UK audience that listens in. Like half our listeners are from the UK. Like if you're walking around, like, do you hear people talk about this fight like in casual conversation? Do you talk about it in Well, I should put it this way, because I think for most people that listen to the show, you're that boxing fan in every group, right? You're the guy that, like your buddy Bill knows that he can go to you and rant about whatever big fight is at the moment because you're the boxing guy. You follow the sport.
Yeah.
Have your casual buddies and friends been hitting you up, been texting you, calling you, talking to you in casual conversation about this fight this week or in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, just at my workplace. I mean, I'm either at work or I'm at home, so it's not like out and about.
You're
really
not clubbing, Rob?
Huh?
You're not at clubs, Rob, and partying it up?
Not till the weekend, but obviously,
yeah, of course.
But yeah. So even my work colleague, none of them follow boxing. It'll be maybe the AJ fight that comes up, and it's like, oh, Joshua's fighting this weekend. Who's he fighting? And but off the back of the upset in June, it's Joshua's fighting that fat guy again, right? I'm just being honest. That's kind of the
conversation. Of course, it's a casual conversation.
And
that's only bad when boxing heads think that way.
Or
DAZN employees who are boxing experts and interviewers say that was their opinion of Andy Ruiz. Like, that's only when it's an issue. But if you're just a fan of the sport and you're a casual fan, of course you can have stupid opinions like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
yes, go back to your point.
So there's been, there's one guy who's been asking me, when is it? And I'm like, December 7th, and it's been getting closer. When is it? Is it this Saturday? Yeah. What time is it? Because he's found himself one of those sort of chipped fire sticks. So I'm going to test that out. What time is it?
Nice.
I must have told him 10 times in the build up.
Of course.
Look, it's going to be like 9 p.m. UK time. I don't know why I told him UK time.
Yeah, you're in the UK. Yeah.
Let's just have it. That would be 9 p.m. UK, 5 Eastern, or whatever. But yeah. So for me, I've noticed it was
Quickly, Paul Laws in the chat saying, I work for Sky installing Sky TV, and this week I've had about 90% of customers asking about the fight, and many are grandmas. Yo, I bet the grandmas love AJ.
Yeah.
I bet they love AJ. Let's be honest.
I think they're loving the baby afro right now. The little mini, the little.
Oh, is he wearing it out?
Yeah. He's getting old school, going back to the 70s. I think he's bringing it back there, like Jamal with the the Sean Porter.
Was that Jamal? Jamal.
Sorry, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
With it looked like the Khabib thing too, like the
like
the Russian hat. It looked like a Russian hat, right? I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, but just the way it was in the bag, like just Sean Porter's big hair before he has it all braided up fight time. But
Sean Porter has a great fro.
He does.
He really does. Respect that fro.
Now, after he had to cut it off, right? He had to cut some off last time.
William Phillips asking what time does it start on the West Coast? So it's 9 in the UK, so that would be
midday.
So midday. It'd be the usual UK time for us, William, to be honest.
Ring walk's a quarter of an hour, so yeah, 8:45 here. So it'll be like 11:45 ring walks for Pacific time, and then midday, I think.
Yeah, knowing boxing's gonna get pushed back an hour. Let's just be honest. Like that's how it always is.
I don't know, man. I'm worried about the fact that it's an all heavyweight, pretty much card. They could be like first rounder. Oh shit, we got 2 hours to kill. I know there's a few floats. Hopey Price is a float, and I think Diego Pacheco is another fight for the like a floating swing bout. So yeah, but it did surprise me with the whole heavyweight sort of theme. But
now, Rob, I agree with you that it's gonna be interesting to see how the time's gonna work out because heavyweights, if it's all 10-round, 12-round boring heavyweight fights, it's another issue.
Quick or could be long.
It's another issue, but it's one of those. It's going to be one way or the other for them probably. But quickly, prediction. Because I don't really hear a prediction here from you.
Yeah, I'm skating around it, aren't
Robert
I? With other useless information. No, not just as a Brit, but I do think the mindset seems stronger. I think Joshua's. I know you seem to think it's not much of an issue, but I think he's coming in quite a lot lighter than previously. He looks to have lost a lot of sort of mass, especially around the shoulders, and he doesn't look quite the same. And I think that will allow him a little bit of fluidity. Personally, I don't want to see him try and do it like a Joseph Parker style fight. I don't want to see. I think he's got a. I know it might be potentially wrong, but he can still keep him on a jab and keep center ring. It doesn't have to be back foot boxing circuit, but I think he has got to obviously be careful. I think I've seen some little clips. He seems to be trying to keep that left hand up high and the right, the hands up high. He seemed quite, I don't know if he was a little dismissive of Ruiz in the first fight. He seemed to have his hands down and sort of down at Ruiz's height a little bit. I want to see him use the, God-given advantages that he has got, not stand too tall, but use your height, your reach. I did hear Johnny Nelson say, despite Ruiz's height difference and weight difference, he's actually got longer arms than Joshua.
That can't be true.
No, I don't think so. Well, when the reach comes up, I'll maybe take a picture and go look at Andy Ruiz's deceptively short, longer arms than Joshua's or something. But yeah, I think Joshua can do it, but I think it's going to be some scary moments. I don't think it would be a Joshua night without a kind of a like, I thought we saw Povetkin sort of trying to get in there early, and it was a little bit of, oh shit, the Dillian White, he got wobbled. Obviously the Klitschko. But for me, I'm going to lean towards a Joshua late stoppage. I think sort of maybe in the championship round, sort of 10, 11, 12, maybe. I don't know. But I think it's going to be scary to watch as a Brit. I think that he may even have to get off the floor and do it. I think maybe both guys are going to hit the floor. I just hope Joshua's a little bit patient. I heard him say this week, last time, what did he say? So I do get annoyed with Joshua in his he could just say what he means without it being like an analogy or I don't know. He tries to be too poetic with shit when he could just say, yeah, he wasn't quite ready to get him out of there, but he said like the meat wasn't quite done yet.
I love it.
Like, I don't. It's just say he wasn't ready. I jumped in a bit too soon and he caught me, and that was it. That's the trouble. Joshua, I know people think he quit or people think he hasn't got the heart. He will get into a tear up. As much as McCracken or whoever will keep it long, keep him on the end of the jab, look for the right hand, blah, blah, blah. If hands start to fly, he will stand and trade and look to fly, and that's when it could be repeat rather than revenge. So it's not a tentative, but just a worried Joshua late stoppage for me. But for me, a genuine 50-50, and that's an actual 50-50, not an Eddie Hearn 50-50 when it's like every main event that he ever puts on is a true 50-50. This one for me is, and the bookies have still got Joshua as a sort of clearish favorite, which is surprising. But yeah, I'm like I say, nervous, excited, just it's going to be a crazy night and edge of your seat stuff. I think it could be fight of the year, even just the occasion, the event, the magnitude of that and what it means. And when the hands start to fly, I think it's going to be in people's memories, because I think this is going to be another fight of the year.
Quick prediction and sort of pick on the undercard fights. Povetkin Hunter being a notable one. Obviously, Dylan White, who is still awaiting his UCAD suspension or non-suspension, fighting Maurice Walk.
Yeah,
that's a fight, I guess. And I don't have it up right now. And then obviously we have Pacheco on the card, Madrimov, thinking that's his name, fighting Tom Little. And is there one other fight I'm forgetting right now?
Yeah, Hrgovic and Molina.
Thank you. I knew it was like another heavyweight fight I was forgetting. Thank you, Hrgovic, Molina.
Yeah. I think the whole we'll stick with Hrgovic Molina right now. I'll go with Hrgovic within 3 rounds. I keep hearing that Molina's come in great shape for this one. He's had a long camp. He's been given, I think even Molina said, I've had an 8-week camp for this one, Eddie. You don't normally hit me up with that amount of time, but I've got it this time. I feel great, but I don't care how great a shape Molina is in right now. I think he'll catch a big shot early off of Hrgovic, and he will cower away like he did against Joshua. He won't last too long, in my opinion. Hunter Povetkin, I think that's a great fight, and I'm leaning towards Hunter, but I really do feel that Povetkin inside 6 or 7 rounds is still a very dangerous opponent for a lot of these guys in the division. I think he's still got a lot to sort of give in the ring. I mean, it might not be over 12 rounds. Obviously, he went 12 with Huey Fury recently. And he still looked to be okay, but it wasn't a high-paced fight by any means, so he was able to get through that. But I think just maybe the youth, I don't know, like the momentum and how he's sort of looking and feeling right now, I think Hunter might just come out the better. Maybe even a decision. I don't know that Hunter will get rid of Povetkin necessarily, but I think he might come away with the victory. But I do feel Povetkin, even at the ripe age of, 40 or 38, 39,
somewhere around there. He's
close to 40 anyway.
I think he's 38, to be honest.
I think he's still got some good rounds in him, and he's dangerous while he's still sort of got that energy inside him. I can't remember how to say the guy's name.
Madrimov, that guy?
Something like that. I'll go with Madrimov, but I keep thinking of Israel Madrimov, the little guy.
I'm definitely sure that Madrimov is not the dude's name.
No, it's
I'm totally getting it wrong.
Yeah, it is. It's a really long one.
The guy that fought AJ in the amateurs.
Shall I just say Tom Little? So save
Tom Little's opponent is going to beat his ass.
I think so. I think it would be fun. Tom Little's kind of brought up as if he's like a sort of a joke opponent, but he's okay. But this guy's Olympian, world amateur champion. I think he'll obviously have it. But that guy had to get off the ground to win his debut in his first fight not so long ago.
Hey, he might be like Rubicio Ramirez, man. There are some great amateur fighters that just don't, transition to the
I mean,
pros at all.
he did get the win, but he had to get off the floor to do it.
Yeah, okay,
It was
yeah,
a bit
that's
like,
true.
fuck it now. But
Not just like Rubisi. Sorry, that's harsh.
was there one more? Oh, Dillian White. Yeah, I really hope we don't see a Dillian White that was in with Hellenius, because that was a very difficult fight to watch. I hope we get more of a Dillian White sort of Chisora type knockout, but maybe not over that long length of time.
No, Lucas Brown knockout. Let's get the fuck over.
Yeah, go with that. We'll go that. But that was still like 5 or 6, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Well,
Four?
when was the second? When did he knock out Chisora in the rematch? How early was that? That was
8, like 10, 11.
Yeah, exactly. The Brown fight was early, relatively speaking. It was like the 5th round, I want to say.
Yeah, but I could do with just 2. Is all I'm saying. Get him out of there. He turned up looking like a supply teacher, Marius Wack. So make him look like one. Look.
And plus, just pull the fury, man. Like you already popped for something. Go into this big fight or not big fight. Just take more shit, pop again, and get that retroactive suspension, and just keep fighting. And then rebrand yourself as like a mental health advocate. It's amazing. I'm just saying the rebrand is there. The path for Dillian White is obvious.
Yeah.
He can pop another time, and you can just be like, okay, you know what? This is too much effort for us. Here's just that time you were fighting still, but dealing with us. You were suspended. Continue your career. Have fun.
I don't know. Look, he was cleared to fight. But
the best part was when Eddie was talking about it, the delay. And he was like, "We're just waiting for the synopsis of the event." And I was like, "No, Eddie, that's not that's not what you're waiting for, technically."
Yeah.
Synopsis.
I mean, ironically, this week, UCAD put out a tweet saying they're looking for a communications guru.
I saw it. So good.
I thought this many people could apply for that. Just give me the information and let me put it out to the people, But yeah, I know this event, and what's around it with the sports washing and everything like that. But I can't help being excited about just the boxing matches and how it looks and everything. The actual, just the boxing side of it, I'm pumped. I'm really excited for it.
I'll be honest, the rest of the undercard's not that great, but I am really excited for those top 2 fights. The Hunter Povetkin fight, because I think that's really interesting, and obviously Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua too is the fantastic fight of a fight of the year contender, upset of the year,
biggest fight of the year, right?
It's one of them. I don't know.
What is bigger than this?
Pacquiao Thurman was really big.
But like in relevance and like I don't know. It was a good fight. I'm not saying it was a shit fight. What are you talking about? That's a rubbish thing.
No, I understand your argument. I think
sheer like size of it, and
I'll put it this way. I think Ruiz Joshua 2 isn't the biggest fight of the year, but it will lead to a biggest fight of the year eventually, whether that be
not this year.
Honestly, whether it's not the winner of this fight goes on for possibly the biggest fight of the last few years, right? Whether it's Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder, whether it's AJ versus Wilder, I think that is a realistic option next year in my mind, to be honest.
So just off pure numbers, is KSI Logan Paul the biggest fight of the year?
No, we already know that it did like a paltry 216,000.
No, I mean like social things and
social things.
Collect all of that data.
Well, then Wilder Brazil. I mean, that's massive. Like one knockout video had like what 10 million views on Twitter.
Yeah, but one video of Logan Paul saying he's gonna JJ's got no dick. Like 15 million as well. So peaks and troughs, swings and roundabouts, whatever you want to call it.
I hate you so much. Oh god, that was good.
This is, without doubt, I'm sorry, mate. You were talking nonsense. This is the biggest fight of the year.
I don't know. It's one of them. I think it's hard to say because I mean we're gonna get into it now. Like there's sometimes our predictions and our sense of how big a fight is off, right? Like that does happen. Even the fight you just brought up, KSI Logan Paul, like that was the biggest UK pay-per-view of the year. No, it wasn't. Like we have the pay-per-view numbers now. Like it did just over 200,000 buys. Like that's not a significant number at all, to be honest. And around the same number as Loma Campbell and AJ versus Andy Ruiz, the first fight in Madison Square Garden, did double that in pay-per-view buys. So no, there's times where there's fights where we think are really big and they just kind of underperform in ways.